When the facade cracks, the tension that reveals a narcissist's true void. Today, we step into one of the most intimate arenas of human experience, the belief in our own worth. This isn't just about self-esteem or confidence. It's about something deeper, something foundational. Psychologists describe self-worth as the internal compass that determines how we allow the world to treat us. When this compass is strong, we walk through life with dignity and peace. But when it's fractured, we become vulnerable to manipulation, to emotional predators, and to the illusions of narcissistic love. When you truly believe in your worth, it's like carrying a quiet light that glows even in your darkest moments. This light, psychologists say, is the essence of self-acceptance, a recognition that your value doesn't depend on approval or admiration. But when this belief falters, when that inner light flickers, it leaves cracks in your boundaries. And those cracks are where narcissists find their way in. Narcissists are, in many ways, haunted souls. Behind the mask of arrogance lies a fragile psyche terrified of its own inadequacy. Clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula often describes narcissists as individuals driven by a desperate need to be seen as special, because deep down, they fear they're nothing at all. Their agitation, their competitiveness, their endless need for control. These are not signs of strength but symptoms of a profound and unhealed wound. The inability to feel worthy without external validation. So what does it really mean to embrace your worth? It's the act of standing in your own truth, seeing yourself as honorable, capable, and deserving of love without needing to earn it through perfection or approval. It's a psychological anchor. Therapists often say that individuals with healthy self-worth radiate calm resilience. They don't need to prove themselves, because they already know who they are. Now, let's contrast that with the narcissist. Their life is a never-ending performance. Imagine a person on a stage, under a harsh spotlight, terrified that the audience will see the cracks in their costume. That's the narcissist's daily existence. Psychologists explain that narcissistic behavior, boasting, manipulating, dominating conversations, is not confidence but defensive grandiosity. It's their way of protecting a fragile ego from the terror of exposure. When someone struggles with low self-worth, their life becomes a theater of pretending. For narcissists, this pretense becomes a full-time identity. They build facades, carefully curating every word, gesture, and story to project superiority. According to research in personality psychology, this constant acting leads to what's called ego fatigue, a draining cycle of self-protection that leaves them empty when they're alone. That's why silence feels unbearable to them. In stillness, they can hear the echoes of their own self-doubt. Their hypersensitivity to criticism is another telltale sign. Every word you say, every look you give, is interpreted through a distorted lens of insecurity. Psychologists call this narcissistic hypervigilance, a constant scanning for threats to their fragile identity. Why didn't you agree with me? Why didn't you praise me? Each minor disagreement feels like a mortal wound to their ego. And then comes their obsession with control. A narcissist's need to dominate you is never about power alone. It's about survival. In therapy sessions, many survivors describe the same realization. They had to control me because they couldn't control their own fears. The narcissist's manipulation is an unconscious attempt to manage their inner chaos. If they can make you doubt yourself, they feel temporarily stable. But psychologists remind us, this sense of stability is fleeting. The moment they lose control, the panic returns. Dishonesty is another symptom of their fractured self-worth. Narcissists lie not just to deceive others, but to protect their carefully constructed identity. They hide flaws, rewrite stories, and twist facts because truth threatens to shatter their illusion of perfection. Psychologist Dr. Craig Malkin notes that this constant deception often stems from shame avoidance behavior, a desperate attempt to escape the unbearable feeling of not being enough. When they rationalize their cruelty, it's their ego's last defense. Instead of admitting fault, they rewrite reality. I didn't hurt you. You misunderstood me. This behavior, known as cognitive dissonance reduction, helps them maintain the belief that they are always right, always justified. But this constant self-deception only deepens their inner void. And what about the victims? The ones who love them, argue with them, and try to fix them. Psychologists emphasize that recovery begins when you reclaim your own worth. You must learn to detach emotionally, to see their behavior not as a reflection of your inadequacy, but of their brokenness. Setting boundaries, limiting contact, and seeking therapy are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of survival. The journey back to self-worth is not quick, but it is transformative. As you heal, you rediscover a power the narcissist never truly had: authenticity. Because while they build castles of illusion, you're building something real: self-trust, self-compassion, and emotional freedom. So today, ask yourself this simple but life-changing question: do I believe in my own worth? Because when you do, no narcissist, no manipulator, no voice of doubt can ever take that away. When a narcissist feels cornered, when their mask begins to slip and the truth creeps too close, they reach for their favorite shield: deflection. You confront them about a lie, a betrayal, or a cruel remark, and instead of accountability, you get a masterclass in blame shifting. "It's not my fault," they'll say. "You made me do it." Or they'll twist the story entirely. "That's not what really happened." To the untrained eye, it seems like arrogance. But psychologists see something else: a deep and terrifying fragility. Narcissists cannot endure the psychological pain of guilt or shame because, to them, those emotions threaten the very core of their identity. Accepting fault feels like annihilation. According to Dr. Ramani Durvasula, one of the leading voices on narcissistic behavior, this inability to take responsibility is rooted in narcissistic injury, a profound inner wound formed early in life when love was conditional or absent. To protect themselves, they build an identity that must always appear perfect, blameless, superior. So when reality intrudes, when you point out their wrongdoing, they go to war not with you but with the truth itself. Their excuses and justifications aren't just manipulative, they're defensive reflexes against their own shame. But the cracks in their armor reveal something darker: rage. Narcissistic anger isn't just about losing control, it's about demanding recognition. Every outburst is a desperate cry of "see me, acknowledge my worth." Yet the irony, psychologists explain, is that their anger repels the very validation they crave. Their rage exposes their weakness, not their power. And still, they can't stop. In their mind, the only way to feel significant is to dominate, to intimidate, to make someone else smaller. It's a zero-sum game of worth. If you're diminished, they feel elevated. Dr. Craig Malkin, author of Rethinking Narcissism, calls this the addiction to feeling special. Narcissists are perpetually chasing emotional highs, the approval, the admiration, the applause. But underneath that pursuit lies an unbearable emptiness. Without a steady stream of validation, they feel worthless. That's why they surround themselves with enablers, people who mirror their fantasies and reinforce their illusions. "Tell me I'm amazing," they beg silently. "Make me feel like I matter." Their followers become emotional oxygen tanks, keeping their fragile egos alive for another day. Now imagine, for a moment, if they could understand what psychologists have long known: that worth is not something to be earned through manipulation or performance. Worth is intrinsic. It's the quiet, undeniable truth of being human. Yet for narcissists, this concept feels alien. They've spent their entire lives believing that love and value must be extracted, conquered, or stolen. If they ever grasp that worth simply is, their entire psychological defense system would collapse, and maybe, finally, they could heal. Contrast that with a person who knows their worth. Psychologists describe such individuals as self-reflective and emotionally grounded. They are capable of asking themselves hard questions. Who am I right now? What can I learn from this moment? They don't lash out when life feels uncertain. Instead, they turn inward, seeking calm through self-awareness. People who value themselves deeply don't need to impress others with wealth, status, or social connections. Their confidence is quiet. Their peace doesn't depend on applause. In therapy, patients with strong self-worth often describe joy as something simple: a morning walk, music drifting through an open window, the laughter of a friend. Narcissists, on the other hand, overlook these moments because their minds are wired to seek grandiosity. Psychologists note that this constant chase for more leaves them perpetually dissatisfied, trapped in a loop of envy and emptiness. When you're secure in your worth, kindness comes naturally. You know what it feels like to be respected, so you extend that same respect to others. True self-worth expands outward. It doesn't compete, it connects. That's why healthy individuals can appreciate others' successes without feeling threatened. They draw strength from empathy, not from domination. But for narcissists, every interaction is a potential threat to their fragile identity. They cannot tolerate the success, independence, or confidence of others because it mirrors what they lack inside. This is why they manipulate, demean, or withdraw affection to regain emotional control. Psychologists describe this as projection-based defense. Instead of facing their insecurity, they project it onto you, making you feel small so they can feel big. Here's the truth that survivors need to remember. Their behavior is not your fault. When you recognize the pattern, deflection, anger, control, manipulation, you reclaim power. Clinical therapists often teach survivors techniques like gray rocking, responding without emotion, boundary setting, and detachment through awareness. These aren't cold strategies. They are tools of self-preservation. Because narcissists feed on reaction. Every tear, every argument, every desperate plea confirms their importance. Silence, peace, and distance starve the cycle. At Team Healthy, we talk often about dignity, respect, and decency, qualities that flow naturally from self-worth. When you operate from this place, your life begins to feel lighter. You no longer need to prove your value, you live it. You recognize that letting go of toxic people isn't cruelty, it's compassion for yourself. And paradoxically, the more you give from genuine worth, the more abundant it becomes. Narcissists can't comprehend this truth because their worth is externally borrowed. Yours, however, is self-sustaining. So, as psychologists often remind us, healing from narcissistic abuse isn't just about escaping a toxic person. It's about rediscovering who you are without their distortion. Your worth was never something they could take. It was only something you forgot to protect. And that's where your recovery begins. When you remember that peace, authenticity, and self-respect were yours all along.